Hello, welcome back. Now today we're going to be helping you get ready for giving a PlayStation on Christmas Day. Now there's more to this than meets the eye. It's not just a matter of getting the right console and the right box under the tree. You need to do some work to set that up. So what we're going to be doing is looking through the key steps of what you need to do so that on Christmas Day when the console's open, it's ready to go. And also that you've got all the kit, all the peripherals and all the games to get the most out of it for your family. So one of the first things you need to do is get the console out of the box. Now you do this with some care because obviously we're going to be putting this back in the box for Christmas Day, but it's important to get it out so that you can get it uploaded and updated with the latest software, and also, as we'll be looking at, so that you can get any games that you've purchased on the system. So you've got obviously a DualShock 4 controller. Now it's worth thinking about how many of these you need for your family. The PlayStation will come with one. This is a special edition Gran Turismo one, very nice and silver. But if you've got more players, then look at either extra peripherals or extra controllers so that you can all play on Christmas Day. Also, it's worth getting this plugged in to charge up. You just plug in the USB cable here, plug it into the front of the PlayStation, and the light here will glow orange and you'll be charging that. And that's important because obviously you don't want to be running out of battery just as you're getting the console started. So then we've got the console itself, as you can see here. And again, take some care unwrapping it because you're going to be putting this back together afterwards so it looks like a brand new gift. But it's important to get this out. One of the reasons is that you know how to set it up, and so you plug it in, you make sure it's all compatible with your TV, and you know which plug to plug in where. So at the back, you've just got this one HDMI out. You take this out of here, you plug the cable in there, and you plug it into the TV. Pretty straightforward. Also, you will have a power cable, and again, the power cable just goes at the back here. So you plug that in here. And of course, you plug that into the wall. Got the PlayStation itself all plugged in and ready to go, and that means you are able to set up users, set up your accounts, and also download any system updates and also install any software ahead of time. Now we have got Gran Turismo Sport with our PlayStation, so unwrap that and pop it in and you'll see that it installs itself to the system so that it's ready to go on Christmas Day. Depending on which pack you get, you also may have a range of codes available. So we here have got a voucher code for some extra content that comes with our pack on Gran Turismo. So again, we'll be putting that in during this setup before we put the console away so that it's ready to go on Christmas Day. Once you've got all your games installed, you need to pop over and set up users and accounts for your family. You can do that here in the parental controls area, and this is where you can set some of the system restrictions. Now this is a new update in the PlayStation 5.0 operating system and includes a bunch of enhancements that are well worth taking advantage of. So first of all, you can see the system-wide restrictions. These are the restrictions that apply to the whole system and kind of provide a base level of protection. So you can stop other people creating new users, and that's particularly useful because obviously you don't want them to do that because they could then circumnavigate around any defaults and protections you put in place. Now here we go down to default parental controls, and this is where you can set up the age levels for the games that can be played across the system. Now at the top here we've got allowed, that lets you play any of the games regardless of the PEGI rating. Now every game sold in the UK has to have a PEGI rating on PlayStation 4. So if we move down the age limits, you can see 18. If we keep on moving down, you can see the top older rated games there get knocked off as we restrict this console to safer and safer games. The game's only appropriate for very young users. And if you do that and keep the default level quite low, then you can go into particular users and allow them access to the older games if that particular family member is of the appropriate age. Now you need to think about how your console is going to be used in your family, what access to different family members need. You can add more family members by clicking on that add button here, and they appear down here in the list. Your family manager account is here, and then you've got members of the family that you can go in and check and save different settings on their parental controls. So here we go into their parental controls. You can set very specific things now about how they interact with other players and what sorts of content that they can share. So here we are, communicating with other players, viewing content created by other players, and what I like particularly is the ability to offer them a monthly spending limit. Now this is a little bit like pocket money, but of course it's virtual and it's on the system. Now a lot of games have in-app purchases, and a lot of games are at that lower price point, and if you give them a little bit of money each month, it's a nice way as to offer a little reward for the kids, but also to give them some credit to spend in a safe way rather than accessing your credit card information directly. Here we go down to the age level. Now you remember we set the system-wise limit down here at 3 and 7, but if this particular user was maybe 16, you could grant them access to those older rated games, and that would just apply to them. And again, you can set specifics for whether they can use VR, whether they can use the internet browser and Blu-ray. So a really nice additional set of options there in the new family management settings on PlayStation 4. Now finally, it's worth checking in with PlayStation Plus. Now you may well have had a PlayStation Plus code in your PlayStation 4 pack, and if you haven't, it's something well worth considering. For a monthly subscription fee, you get a whole library of games and a whole load of new options available in terms of sharing and playing games with other people of the family, and in some situations you can share those games even if you're not in the same place. It's kind of a ready-made collection of games and software for the PlayStation 4, which I really like. Then finally, it's worth popping back into the PlayStation Store to see what other deals might be a good fit for your family, and you can browse this in a number of ways. A particularly useful one is if you pop into games, you can then view all the games which are free to play. So there are some downloads there, and some of these particularly popular with children and younger players that don't cost any money to play. One of these is PlayLink, which we've been having a load of fun with in our family. These are games that you don't need a controller for because you use your smartphone. If we pop into see all, you can have a look at all the different PlayLink games, and in particular the one that we've been enjoying is That's You. So this is currently included as part of the PlayStation Plus subscription, and is kind of like a board game, an interactive game where you play with your family. You get to ask and answer different questions. You have to do things on your smartphone using the camera. You have to draw pictures. You have to pull faces, and it is a lot of fun. And for Christmas Day, I think there's no better recommendation than That's You, a PlayStation 4, and everyone pulls out their smartphones after you've had your big meal and gathers around the TV. So there you go, that's your PlayStation 4 all set up and ready for Christmas. All that's left to do is for you to pop it back in the box, carefully remembering how it was packaged, wrap it up and put it under the tree, safe in the knowledge that come Christmas Day you'll be all set to go, and there'll be no delays and no hold-ups, and you can get on with the fun. I'd love to hear how you get on with your new PlayStation 4, if that is what is happening in your house on Christmas Day. Which games are you playing, and how did you get on with That's You? Did you find it just as much fun as we did? We'll be back with more videos on PlayStation 4, new ways and new games to get the most out of your console with your family.